Yeah, remember the name. Jazz Takhar, best in the game. Mamba mentality in his own lane. So better pay attention to what he be saying. Get the message, ain't no question. Giving advice for any investment. Welcome to the broadcast, the Jazz Takhar podcast.
Hey. Welcome to the Jazz Takhar podcast. I know you like that because I brought it back.
I'm sorry, is this how this starts?
Oh, this is how we started sometimes. Buddy, nobody knows how I'm starting my podcast because I haven't even really figured out how I'm going to be starting it.
I was still playing with my mic, doing mock ASMR.
Don't worry. We're used to that. We caught it all on camera.
Right.
In fact, I'm actually very excited that I said that we caught some stuff on camera because there's a lot of you right now that are taking their dog for a walk. You're on the treadmill. I mean, it's not me, but I know you probably are on the treadmill. You're driving, but yet you have not yet downloaded the app. It's not for me that I want you to download the app, even though it makes my mom happy and my family happy. The reason I really want you to download the app is because that's where you're going to catch the actual videos of these conversations. It's where you get my actual exclusive keynotes. You also get my short films. It's the only place. The long form content no longer lives on YouTube. YouTube, you can get some of the clips of this episode, but you actually can't get the full discussion. So if you're on iTunes, all you got to do is go to the App Store, search Jazz Takhar. If you're an Android person, and I know there's still some of you out there, just go to the Play Store, search the name Jazz Takhar. App comes up. I live on your phone. And as the kids, kids usually say, let me slide into your DMs. What I wanted to do is make sure that I'm on your app. That's my shameless plug at the start.
On the home screen.
On the home screen. What did I say? App. Perfect.
You want to slide into the home screen.
I want to be on people's home screen, and I want to live on their home screen. And if you get value, please just share it with one friend, colleague, or neighbor, because that's what gets our numbers up, and it's always, always greatly appreciated. But we're going to jump into today's episode, and today's episode really is going to be about some of the lessons that I myself learned in 2022. I brought on two of my business partners, and I thought it was like the perfect way to end off our year of 2022, talking about our businesses. But for me to do that, I could have rambled on for an hour by myself, but it really doesn't give you as much context as this, I believe, is going to give you, because I'm actually bringing on my business partners, the ones that are in the trenches with me every single day. You guys, most of you know your girl, Laura Stewart. What's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Did you do this matching with the couches and stuff?
It was on purpose, just in case I wanted to really blend into the background.
Because the Dutch lost, so it had nothing to do with that.
Wait,
low blow?
I'm Dutch.
Low blow?
It doesn't matter.
I know, but was that a low blow?
It was low. Why would you do that?
Because
I'm still reeling over it.
Well,
he likes to hurt people.
Yeah, sometimes.
Why are we business partners with him?
I don't know.
This other
you don't need to hold the mic every
beautiful.
I'm going to go with an ASMR field today.
This other beautiful, sultry voice that you just heard is none other than my brother from another mother, Mr. Simeon Papailias. How you doing, bro?
Thank you for having me.
I gotta say, it's my fault, as it usually is. I'm
okay,
always
no more ASMR.
It's
creeping me out.
Look, I'm up front. I'm usually I'm the guy who runs around, does a bunch of shit, and I make a lot of mistakes. But I haven't had you on the podcast before in the new studio.
Got it.
For the new viewers and listeners, this guy's been on this podcast for a very long time and a lot of episodes, except in the new set, it's the first one. So welcome to the new set. Welcome to the app. Welcome to today's episode. How you been?
I have been excellent, and I'm very thankful to be here because I do love you quite a bit. I actually never thought of the fact that I haven't been recorded in this studio before until you just said it, because I've been in this studio a bunch of times.
Well, we've done brainstorming sessions,
but it feels like I've been here before.
Yeah.
But what you just said is true.
Yeah.
So now he's mad at you. So way to go, John.
Well,
so just now you identified a hole in the ship.
Yeah, exactly.
Which you've already patched by having me on today. So
that's going to be a New Year's resolution of mine, not to do that.
Patch it up immediately.
He made the hole while patching the hole.
Good
for him.
Big shout out. We just haven't figured out how to get a fourth person in yet into the studio, but we got to get a big shout out to Mr. Bobby Pume, aka Pume, our director of team director of team operations. He's in the studio as well in the back. Bobby, just give us a what's up. We're gonna find if the mic's picking up or not.
Hey, what's up?
Yes, looks at me and says no, that's not happening. But anyways, he's in the back, so make sure you check out our Instagram profiles and Facebook profiles for behind the scenes footage. Okay, guys, what I wanted to do today is my viewers, my listeners are majority of entrepreneurs, salespeople, and real estate investors. That's kind of the myriad of viewers and listeners I have. And so I thought it would be a good idea to kind of go like all over the place from the perspective of the lessons that we learned, the successes that we had. And we're not, anybody who's known myself, Laura and Simos, and really the whole REC family for the last 10 years, 18 years, we don't flex. Like, we don't really talk about our numbers and stuff like that. But I actually think sometimes it does a disservice, not only to us, but to the viewers and listeners, because they think that we're just a bunch of goofs sometimes. And that's okay. We don't mind that. I mean, look, we got the Peronis out today. But like, especially with Simos and I mean, you could tell, like, yes, we are real estate brokers. We own and operate a pretty massive organization in the real estate field. To make things a little confusing for people, Laura Stewart is the VP of this company, but she's also a business partner in the From the Ground Up company that we'll talk about, which is really sales solutions for salespeople. And we'll talk about kind of our brand.
I wear a lot of hats, so just tell me which hat I need to put on.
Which I've never really seen you in a hat, except for in your Instagram profile with that funny little hat on.
That's a great hat, yeah.
Cool little.
So I think it's prudent for your audience, Jazz, to know that we're not agents or brokers. We're agents, we're brokers, we're investors, we're business owners, we're friends, we have families. It's a whole gamut of things, and it's very difficult when you get this active to kind of be able to put out a cohesive message in one place.
It's funny that you say that because, like when we started kind of getting out there and putting out content, you always use that word, right? You always said, hey, man, let's have something cohesive. But as you can kind of know, it's fucking hard. Like
it's actually impossible.
Because we're up to so much shit.
Correct. So what I found, and I'll start, if this is 2022.
And I just want to make sure, one second, Simos, row. Simos' audio is good because I know he's awesome. Perfect. Okay, good. Do your thing. That's
right
it.
on. So I think if we're going to go down 2022, a year in review, and see really what we've created, all the chaos and havoc we were wreaking on the market right now. We had our banner year in a year where real estate activity is down 40%. Our numbers are actually 18% up as a group. As team members, we are up 9%. Losing a few, adding a few. So in a year that the general outlook, the sentiment in the market is literally in the toilet, we were able to grow once again. You said something earlier in the fact that it is a disservice when we don't share results. And the reason we typically don't share results is because we don't want to attract the wrong attention, to be described as pompous or ignorant or nonsense. But it is a disservice. So I think people should have a benchmark as to where we stand, whether they like it or they don't like it, or they think it's a lot or they think it's a little. It's okay.
Well, look, and I think today we're going to be able to do that a little bit. And we're going to be able to talk about the fact that, look, man, we get to help, and we're so blessed. We get to help a little over 700 families every single year. You said the 9% number. Where are we in terms of team members now, like actual agents on the ground?
So by the end of December 2022, we're going to be at just over 60, probably 61. Bobby?
61?
We're going to be at 61 agents, and I'm not going to talk commissions and nonsense, but I will say volume. We're handling $500 million a year in volume. $500 million. To us, like I come from nothing. Jazz comes from taxis and factories.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't something that we ever expected or anybody thought we would be doing. It was
I think people are dumbfounded that the two of you actually are doing it.
Well, look,
thanks for the note of confidence.
And to your point, brother, and even what you said, Laura, and It is the brainchild of Simos and I, and at the start, it needed him and I to get like real dirty in terms
As
of
dirty as it
our
gets.
hands dirty in making phone calls. You know, there's been so many sleepless nights, but I actually think in 2022, but also 2021 and going back, you know, you've been with us for 8 years. Bobby's now coming up to 3 or 4 years. Where it's at now, you say 60 agents, you say $500 million in volume. There's no way we would have been able to do that without the likes of yourself, Laura, without the likes of Bobby. Obviously, our 60, and, you know, we got our Tyler Ty Walburns of the world as well, who have really just taken ownership. Like, for us to have thought that we were going to, like, we know, right, like 10 years ago, there's no way we even envisioned having guys like you and girls like you.
So
You know what I mean? Like,
let
it was
me
like, can we just get out of this?
Let me shed some light on how that happens.
Yeah.
So it's me and Jazz.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're doing $3 million a year. You add Laura, which is a duplicate of Jazz,
Yeah.
VP of Sales. So she takes process, it puts all her brain trust into the company, and that doubles. You add a Simeon, meaning a Bobby, who took my role, 80% of my role, and now I'm free to soar in business development.
Yep.
You double that too. So we went from 30 to 60.
Well, and people always say, how do you scale?
So, but this is it. So you have to find people who not only you trust, it's not about trust, it's about the right person, you trusting the right person, them having the skill. You didn't create Laura, you influenced Laura, but Laura had what she had in
100.
her.
Yeah, I think it's so important because you have to give up control. Like you guys also
100%.
had your hands in everything. You were doing every facet of the business yourselves. And then all of a sudden to bring on someone, which is what everyone always says, like, I just need people, but actually handing over the work. We were talking about this morning, like giving something up is very hard to do when you've been doing it your whole life.
Laura was in the room when me and Jez were screaming at each other, who's going to do this, who's going to do that? No, you have to let go of this and you have to let go of that.
Yeah.
And you define clean boundaries that if you're used to doing everything yourself like we were, I remember me being at Red Lobster in North York on Yonge Street. Him being in the West End, you were in High Park at Nav's place.
Yep, Navraj's place. Yeah,
That night,
we were on an offer for his place.
I just will never forget it.
Yeah, I know.
Because I was in Willowdale doing, I don't know, a 2.2 or a $2.8 million bungalow, and it was in competition. This is a hard Persian neighborhood, hard Chinese neighborhood, and the Chinese are fighting the Persians, and there's agents everywhere, and it's just a gong show. And we had to retire to Red Lobster to cool the clients down.
Yeah.
The clients were like English, hard English. So they're like overwhelmed by the nonsense of all the immigrants. I'm trying to stick in the middle of the whole thing. And you know how that goes.
Yeah, obviously.
And this is 11:30 at night.
Yeah.
And this is, let's go back 7 years.
No, this is longer, brother. This is like a decade ago. Because
I
Alto wasn't with us. None of
we had our
Yeah.
first kids.
Yes.
I remember Sophia. I hadn't seen my daughter. We left the home at 7 because we would come and work out in the morning. We hadn't seen our families. Long day, dragged out day. And I'm in North York and he's over there. And I ended up winning. I said, what'd you do over there? And he ended up winning. And like we literally almost cried. I can almost cry right now. Because those are the types of moments that you can never, when he says getting dirty, there is no more grind past working till 1 a.m, going home just to get yelled at by your wife, only to make up
Big
for
shout
something.
out to CPAP, Sony, John, and all our
Don't change
significant
something, don't
others.
change
We have Laura as well, Bobby's significant other. Not this Laura, different Laura. We always have to do that.
But
explanation.
that's just it. So like those are the moments like when you're building that, I'm sorry, like we are the dishwasher, the cook, the waitress, the GM, the owner. How many hats can you
People
wear
think
in a
it's
day?
so glamorous, right? And like
No.
you have people who are like, I just can't wait to be doing what you guys are doing. But the best parts of what we've ever done were those times where we were grimy, like we were just getting it done, and you stayed late and you worked. We used to do launches where we worked for 14 days straight. Like I was like near tears. Like I was like, I haven't showered in 2
Well,
days.
that's
Like,
funny.
This shit's getting crazy. But like now that I'm out of it and looking back, like I'm so grateful for those moments because those
They
are the
shape
things that
you.
make you really appreciate it.
They shaped you.
Yeah.
And that's how you know you can now give direction. When somebody says, I can't do that, you're like, Actually, you can.
You don't want to.
You don't want to, or you don't believe in it.
Yeah.
But you know the difference as a result of the grind.
You mentioned, Laura, about like putting in that time and all those hours and the grind you mentioned. 2022 for me anyways, and I know I can speak for you guys in this sense from the REC world, it was a grind. It was a grind. It didn't feel like it really at the start, January, kind of February. So I guess we're, in Q1 at that time. But we started to see a shift, and we're going to kind of speak to our investor community right now, because I think they're going to obviously wonder what's happening in 2023 and what like our kind of forecast is going to be, and we'll touch on that. But what were your guys' thoughts? Like, go back to Q1, even go into Q2. Like
things were looking good then.
Yeah, Q1 things were looking actually
looking
pretty
great.
good, right? I mean, in terms of we did our first launch end of January for a project in Hamilton, but it didn't pan out right away. Because we just couldn't get the Terrion paperwork ready. And so the developer wasn't ready at that time. They were supposed to. We did the launch. But I started to feel kind of a shift kind of early March. Is that where you kind of like what's your guys' thoughts on that? Because interest rate talk of hikes this year started to kind of happen in March.
But I remember us making our predictions.
Yeah.
And the predictions were, so what Jazz and I really went heavy on, and it's recorded, we can go back and find it, is people were saying, oh, it's going to go up another 20%, all these things. And we're like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Because it can't. Yeah. And there was no talk of interest rates going up at the time. So based on a market with record low interest rates in January, when we went in front of our audience and made our predictions, all of us, including who was on the show with us, was it Tim?
No, Christopher. Slide him.
Chris Lightham,
Yeah.
we all predicted somewhere between 10 and 12% being the highest.
Yeah.
And that was in a market that was a blazing hot, white hot. It was in a market with record low interest rates, with no PR, no news source claiming that interest rates would go up. As a matter of fact, in October, the government had made further assurances to Canadians that they wouldn't go up.
TIF is the Bank of Canada.
The Bank of Canada. Yeah. So at the end of the day, whether we feel lied to or betrayed by the Bank of Canada, I think it's irrelevant. I think they were too late, actually. This should have happened earlier.
Oh, this should have happened probably sometime early 2021.
Correct.
And then it could have been a little slower and less aggressive.
Exactly. We didn't need to have the 7 increases that we had.
You would have also curbed some of the inflation that happened.
100%.
So not only would it not been as shocking to the market, it would have actually curbed some of that rush inflation that happened when you waited to the last second to do something about it. With that being said, our outlook, like how we felt, is the market is white hot. We can't get enough product to service our clients. We're running max. We came off our highest year yet in 2021, so we were flying high. By the time February rolled around and they started making the announcements and the noise, the market took literally the most fear it had since March 2020, when nobody knew what to make out of COVID.
Yeah.
Before the market went up crazy during COVID, everybody thought it was doomsday.
Yeah. Right at the start. Yeah.
We stood and said otherwise, because that's recorded as well.
Oh, but you're talking about back in
Yes.
COVID. Oh, yeah.
But the
sure.
last time the market reacted this swiftly and with so much poise was March 2020, when the world shit their pants, not knowing what's up ahead. And now they knew what was up ahead. March 2022, everybody knew what was up ahead. And that was going to be an upward trajectory and pressure on both prices and inflation, and of course in interest rates.
Well, look, I actually liked the fact that, from a home buyer's perspective, you started to at least have some more choice. Like if you start to talk about now kind of, moving towards April, May of this year, June of this year, you started to see it not being as strong as a seller's market, right? And we always look at it from the perspective of what's months of inventory, right? And if you look back to those months of like spring, early summer of this year, you can start to notice that the months of inventory was starting to increase now. Like 2021, forget 2020 for a second, like because that's an outlier. It's an anomaly. I mean, nobody, you weren't allowed to list your homes, leave your homes, show your homes, yada, yada, yada. But late 2021, you were at like 3 weeks of months of inventory, 2 weeks in some place. I remember seeing Brampton, my neck of the woods, seeing
Ridiculous.
like 2 weeks of inventory, right? And so for everyone, just really quickly, I mean, if no home went on the market, how long does it take for all the current inventory to sell? That's how you come up with your months of inventory. Now we started to see month and a half, 2 months, 2.5 months. And like even where we sit right now at the end of this year, I think once we get the full stats for December 2022, you're going to start to see that 2.5, maybe 3 months, we'll see, for the whole greater Toronto area. Now we're kind of in a balanced market. But going back to spring and summer, you're flirting with this 2 months, a month and 3 weeks of inventory. Now buyers start to have more choice. A lot of people think that we as real estate agents love when shit is at like 2 weeks of inventory and there's 57 offers. Like, you got to remember, when there's 57 offers, there's 56 people who go home at night losing. And that's not only 56 people, it's probably, 112 people because you also have an agent and the buyer who lost a home. It's not a good feeling when you're losing every single night.
It's not a good feeling when you put a week's worth of work, all the strategy, all the work to go there and walk away with your tail between your legs.
For sure.
Do it again.
It actually
do it again,
sucks.
Do it again. But it depends. Like, if you're a real estate agent helping the buyer, not so fun. If you're the real estate agent helping the seller in that regard, it's great because you only put a week's worth of effort in, and there you go. So in both markets, depending which side of the coin you're on, you're not happy.
Now, great point, Laura, but just to quickly add to that, but if that seller needs to buy a home, you're back into that kind of thing again, side, right? And so as a real estate agent, I'm here to tell everyone else, like, we don't like this. We never liked the 20% year over year increase stuff, because anything that goes up that fast has to come down. It's way too fast, and it's gone up too much. And when there's this like 3 weeks of inventory, you can't help your clients. You really can't service them. It's so tough. And so now, going into summer, fall of 2022, now you start to see those increases back to back of rate increases. 50 basis points. We saw 1 or 2.75 is one of them, right?
No, we saw a full point in July.
We saw a full point in July.
Then 0.75, 0.5, 0.5.
Yes. Now you start to notice, okay, there's this invisible metric or this invisible thing that happens in the economy that nobody really talks about, and it's called consumer confidence. Now that starts at this time of summer and fall of 2022. That's when you start to really feel like, even personally myself, like, all right, I'm not gonna spend as frivolously as I maybe would have in the past, right?
100%.
Not that I did, and I know us three, we really don't, but I'm going to pull it back a little bit now.
But that's the thing. Everyone does that. And then that only further exacerbates the issue because people aren't putting money
back into the economy, right? And now you start to see fall 2022. We've had probably 4 increases by then, 5 increases by fall of 2022. Now you start to see values drop in certain areas. However, you're not seeing values drop right across the greater Toronto area in every single micro market. For anybody new to the podcast, I want to reiterate that in the greater Toronto area, where we service majority of our clients and where most of our business is done, you have probably, I don't know, off the top of my head, 1,500 micro markets, right? The Brampton home market is different than the Don Mills market, which is completely different than the Mississauga market, which is completely different than the downtown condo market. Within the downtown condo market, you have the Distillery market, you have Bay Street, you have Harbourfront. So you have to really look at these micro markets. But you are starting to see in certain areas values drop. And that's where you can kind of jump in as a homeowner and start to see some compelling buying opportunities possibly.
Values drop is one thing. It's the affordability that has changed. From last year to this year, everybody was talking about there is no supply. This is why the market is screeching hot. everybody wants to buy Toronto real estate. There is no supply. Nothing has changed from the supply side from last year till today. As a matter of fact, what people need to understand is when the interest rates go up, what exactly happens is the buyer's ability to borrow changes. So if you have a salary of $150,000, your partner has a salary of $150,000, your total household income is $300,000. You qualify for $1 million, for example. It doesn't matter. But at 2% interest rate, you qualified for $1 million. When that changes rapidly, and I'm talking within 7 months, we have had in recorded history the fastest moving interest rates of all time. They also went down the fastest in history of all time back in 2020. Let's not forget that. But right now, it's the fastest increase up. And that sent a message to the market, to the buyer specifically, that if this keeps going up, not only if I buy today and it goes up tomorrow, my power erodes, my financial
Purchasing power
to begin with, and then carrying power as well gets affected. So do I sign? So as a buyer, I have to decide, has the market seen enough and it's going to get better? Or am I buying at a time where it's only going to get worse? So the investment that I'm making today has the potential to corrode in front of my very eyes over the next 90 days. So that creates what we know to be called volatility. I don't know what to do. When somebody doesn't know what to do, typically what do?
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
100%.
Hands in the pockets.
Yeah.
Do nothing. I'm waiting this shit out. And that is what we saw. What we also saw is the sellers acting the same way, saying, I put my house on the market. It doesn't sell in 2 weeks like I'm used to. My spoiled little seller mentality. It's okay. It's okay, sellers. We got you. It doesn't sell the way it used to. And I'm not getting multiple offers above and beyond. You know what? I'm not selling.
Yeah.
I'm just fine. So now you take further inventory out of the market, leaving nothing. The buyers are digging their heels, and you have a market that drops 40% in volume.
Well, 50 right now. We're like,
50
at the time of this
right now.
recording, we're sitting at 49.7%,
And
right?
that is unheard of.
And, well, we haven't seen, I've been doing this for 18 years, and I've never seen that much of a drop in actual volume ever. I just want to make sure. Yeah, I've never seen that, right? You said something interesting because as sellers started to pull away and not put their properties on the market, I actually think it had a funny way of working itself out in terms of values not dropping as much as people originally thought.
100%.
Right? Because what should have probably happened, and I know it's still early, kind of.
Protectionism.
Yeah, is you probably should have jumped
good.
to 6 months of inventory.
Yes. But it
Right?
didn't.
What people forget about Canadians, right? And, rest in peace, a good friend of mine and a good friend of ours, okay? Very rest in peace to Mr. Simon Giannini. He always said it, is that Canadians are conservative and cheap. And
chicken.
Okay? The 3 C's.
Three C's.
Okay? And it's true because you're not going to see as many as as you think you might when it comes to power of sales, which the term in the States is foreclosures. And the reason in Canada you won't is because we're just that much more conservative.
These people were stress tested. The levels above and beyond record breaking.
When did the stress test come in? 18 or
2018?
18, right? It came in? Okay. And so...
Don't quote us on that. 2018 or 2019.
It was 2018.
No, it's 2018.
Bobby?
It's 2018.
Laura? 2018? Okay. Yeah, okay.
No, nobody can say yes, so please don't
No,
quote
it
us
is
on that.
20. It's 2018.
I'm going to go with Laura.
2018.
That's why she's here. She makes sure. She's the fact checker.
Well, and it's so funny because back in 2018 when that happened, similarly, right? There's uncertainty. people all of a sudden were like, I don't know if I should be buying. It created this little kind of like pause in the market. Values went down. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, wait, no, everything's still right.
It was Jan 1, 2018. It was 2017 Ontario Fair Housing Plan.
Yes.
And Jan 1 was the stress test.
Stress test.
Yes.
Continue, Laura.
Right. And so all of a sudden people weren't sure what to do. And it caused this kind of like, values were dropping a little bit. And everyone's like, oh no, the bubble's bursting, But then all of a sudden it was like, oh wait, people still need to buy. We still have so much immigration. We don't have enough supply. And all of a sudden, boom, a couple months later, we're right back where we were.
And I mean, you spoke about immigration. I mean, now moving to 2023 a little bit, you're still going to be at about 300,000 to 400,000 people a year coming into Canada from outside of this country. We don't really have a way of calculating what is known as like net migration, meaning who's flying from Vancouver, who's driving down the 401 from Montreal, because out of the, call it 400 for giggles, that is coming into the country, it's always been a historical fact that 50% of them are coming into the Greater Toronto area. And look, we say this all the time. All three of us have minimum. I mean, Simos, you when you came into the country with your family and stuff, you went to Red Deer,
Alberta.
and you were there for how long?
5 years.
5 years, and then you got into the GTA like right after. So, and it's been what now? 15, 18 years?
It's been 22 years.
Holy shit, my bad. Okay, so 22 years.
I came in September 2000 to attend Ryerson to finish my accounting and financial.
But see, what's important there is exactly what Simo said. He came here because he understands that we still do have some of the best schools in the country, okay?
And the best opportunities.
Well, period, right? But I actually wanted to go into the nitty gritty of like what that even means, like, because 100% I think we are the financial heartbeat of the country, but I actually think that not only are we the best city in the country, I think we're like top 2, top 3 in the fucking world. We suck at a lot of shit, including transit. And there's some other stuff that we suck at, but hands down,
like hockey.
My boy Yas, our boy Yas.
Apparently, we really suck at hockey.
Our boy Yas, sorry Yas, came from Morocco, lost. I get it. I love them.
Why
I
are
wanted,
you-
What is
I wanted
your
them to win
problem?
though.
The World Cup
You know
right
what it is?
now.
I'm
Like,
trying to
you're
bring
trying
up
to
the
hurt
World Cup
everyone's
vibes into the episode.
1 second, you're trying to empower someone.
Yeah, I know.
And the next level, you just remind him that he got slapped around
I
by
know.
the French. Why do you have to say that?
Comes
Slapped
from
around by the
Morocco.
French.
Family comes.
I'm joking, brother.
Please,
I love
by the time this airs, I'm hoping we're all saying that Messi got his first World Cup. I hope that's what we're saying.
I hope so too, by the way.
Laura?
I'm Team Messi.
Okay, good job.
So
Awesome.
I have no love for Argentina or France in real life.
Yeah.
I have love for Messi only. So because I have nothing invested
I was in
that
Argentina last year, so that alone, I'm like,
you did that for like 30 days or something like that.
2 weeks.
60. 60.
Yeah, 6. See, what's when I count everyone's vacation. Our boy Yas, his family comes from Morocco, goes to Ottawa, realizes, how long you there for in Ottawa before you came to Toronto? Yes. 4 years? 4 years, okay? Is there trying to figure out his thing, trying to see if he can get some jobs. Realizes, I need to get to Toronto. Gets the job of his lifetime working with me and says, okay, this is where I'm going to do my thing. Okay?
You can say that again, yes.
Simos comes to get into, a university, and that's what really happens. The reason people come here to the GTA is for that reason. I'm mentioning all this, that unless something like catastrophic happens, and I'm not sure exactly what happened to Montreal in the 70s, like why so many of the major banks and their, at that time.
They were talking about separating.
Was that kind of in the 70s?
So my parents
Your
both
dad
grew up
yeah.
in Montreal. They were both working at the bank. And I mean, when obviously a province elects a leader who says we want to separate from the country, like it's a lot of uncertainty. And when your financial heartbeat is there and they're thinking, like banks and other companies are thinking, I don't know if we want to be here when that goes down, we need to move. They moved to Toronto. So then my parents picked up and moved to Toronto because of that.
And that was in the 70s, right?
They moved in the late early 80s.
Okay, so unless something like that happens to Toronto, I just keep thinking, and I say, when I say Toronto, I mean that Greater Toronto area, kind of Greater Toronto, Hamilton area now, which for the out-of-country listeners and viewers, you're probably talking about 150-kilometer radius if you go out to Hamilton as well. People are going to still keep coming here, and they all need one thing, housing. Yes, it's not as affordable, and I don't even know really what the term affordable is in context to like what people are making.
Yeah, it's
such a moving kind of target.
It's a ghost.
It is, right? Like, I
ghost.
get the term affordability, but like affordable to what? Like, what are we?
To who?
Okay, and what are we comparing it to?
So, and this is the biggest problem.
Yeah.
The biggest problem, because we're talking about affordability while we're displacing and replacing an entire demographic. What do I mean by that? If our parents, let's call it East York. I'm Greek town. I'll talk about East York. When I moved here in 2000, house in East York was $350K. Bungalow. 800 square foot, veteran housing, built 1950. Bungie. Your regular bungalow, 45-foot lot, was going for $350 to $400K. Which 5 years prior to that, I heard they were going for $175. So they had already started picking up through that tech bubble in the late 90s into the 2000s. And since 2000 to now, it's only been an upward trajectory with a couple of bumps along the way. But I'm going to talk about the replacing and displacing and replacing. When those prices started reaching $500,000 and $600,000, I noticed a very, very big trend, because it's exactly when we got into real estate, 06, 07, 08, right before the States went bang, bang with the Lehman Brothers and everyone else. So at that very time, what was happening is you have all these Greeks, all these Italians, all these immigrants who have paid off houses. They paid all their mortgages because that's what they believed in, and good for them, and God bless them. But they were sitting down $500,000. They're like, they've never fucking dreamed of having a house worth $500,000. What are you talking about right now? $500,000. They also had another $200,000-300K in the bank because these people are savers. They'll have a slice of bread with a piece of feta cheese as opposed to steak.
I guess
on
he's
Wednesday night
referencing the
to
Greeks
save.
here specifically.
100%.
Greek specific.
Only about the
Fuck,
I like myself
Feta
sometimes.
cheese on a
Hey,
piece
you
of
said feta
bread.
cheese. I know you're getting hangry soon, so that's happening.
A piece of El Forno Spane with a piece of cacciatore for my Italian friends. Doesn't matter. So the whole point of this exercise is the fact that these guys start cashing out.
Yeah.
They start cashing out. They're moving to Vaughan, to Woodbridge. The Greeks are moving to Scarborough, to Markham. And they're taking their equity. They're buying a house cash now in these suburbs, in the 905s, and banking another $200,000-300K on the side. Who bought the houses at $500,000 and $600K? Mm-hmm. The new gen did.
Yep.
New gen making more money because they have to qualify at 6% at the time. Because when I bought my house in 2009, I closed 2010 on the one in Oakville. I bought a house in Oakville in Bronte Creek.
You're probably flirting with 5.
For $499,000 from Fernbrook.
Yeah, but interest rate rise probably around 5.
I closed at 5.05, and it was the deal.
100%
of deals.
You thought you robbed the bank, bro.
Robbed it.
I talk about that all the time. Continue though.
So with that being said, who bought that East York house then at $500? Because 5 years later it was going for $750. So those people took $250,000. They went where they went. A little bit outside, a little bit to the side, up, down, sideways. I don't care where you went, but you took $250,000 tax-free, your personal residence, and now you took out $250,000. So now, who's at the $750,000? Guess who's buying these homes? Somebody who makes more money than you, bro.
Yeah.
It's very simple. Then they became $1 million, then 1.3. The whole point is, as this immigration comes in, whether it's migration from a couple of engineers in Calgary,
Yep.
whether it's a couple of engineers or architects from China, India, I don't care where you come from. You're coming in with more, a higher value proposition. The city is being elevated. We're the third largest tech hub in North America. What are you talking about right now?
But Simos, even in that sense, what people are having a hard time in our city just understanding now is that we're becoming like every other fucking major city in
Correct.
the world, that we become a renter city.
Yes.
I'm sorry. And my whole crew around me, like especially, and like Laura's crew around her in terms of the media, they're younger, and I get it. It's tougher to buy a home. That's what happens in this kind of in any major city. It becomes a renter's city. This is for investors. It's fucking golden. Like, I love it as an investor because you know that you're going to have a steady flow of people
where did
renting out your properties.
The entitlement of home ownership in Manhattan for me does not exist.
Well, you don't even think about it.
Me today, whether I have money or not.
Yeah.
If somebody said, Simeon, you're moving to Manhattan, the first thought that comes to my head is not that I'm buying a place in Manhattan or Hong Kong or Paris or Athens or whatever, London. Who are you?
Laura, like, you went to London not too long ago and you were talking about what the price per square foot for new builds were. This was like just when did you go to London?
2019.
So just pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And we were probably flirting here in downtown Toronto for a new build condo, price per square foot. So for the newer people, you take, the purchase price divided by what the square footage is. You get the kind of your price per square foot. On average, in Toronto, we were flirting with, at that time, I think it was about $1,100, right around $1,100 downtown Toronto. You went to London and you were
It was like
showing
double
us
that or whatever.
You were like, actually, I think north of 3,500 to 4,000.
I say double, but then with the conversion too,
right? So you were at like 4,000.
If we were to take 5 people, 5 average people off the street right now, if you were to ask them, can you go to the Golden Mile on Bloor Street and spend $10,000 at Holt Renfrew today?
Yeah.
Do you expect 1 out of 5 to say yes? I don't expect any.
No.
So spend 10 G's just on, zero.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we were to put 20 people,
Yeah.
and say, if you were moving to Manhattan tomorrow, are you buying or are you renting? I would tell you that 20 people would all say, I'm renting.
Yeah.
Okay. This is where we're going.
Yeah.
So
I actually think we're there. I think Toronto's already a renter city. Like,
whether you like it.
That's a good point to bring up then is that doesn't mean you should never try to own a home.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be your principal residence. Like, you can rent in the city because you want the opportunity where you work, and then you purchase properties in neighboring, like, outside skirts. Like Tyler on our team did this, right? Like, he rents where he lives, but he wanted to get into the real estate market. He knew that wasn't going to be Toronto, and so he purchased rental property outside.
in London.
Tyler is so smart.
Yeah.
What Tyler did is he rented a home
Yeah.
that's actually under rent control because of when it was
Bro,
built.
he has a 3 fucking bedroom in Don Mills and
Central
Lawrence,
Toronto.
pretty
Smarter
much.
than anyone.
Hey,
Smarter than anyone.
he spent $1,600, $1,700. I'm
and
sure
it
he'll
can only go up
Yeah.
by 2%
a year. Well,
Can you
it was
imagine?
rent freeze 2 years ago during COVID.
Can you imagine?
100%.
So he's protected from inflation,
Yeah.
insulated
Yeah.
from inflation.
Yeah, I like
He's
that word
spending
better.
Peanuts on rent compared to market rents.
Yeah.
And the house that he bought, the investment he made is in a growing, secure market that does
Yeah.
not impose under rent control.
Well, he bought that
What a gangster plan.
3 years ago. I think.
2?
2 years ago, we went up already by about, 45 grand, 50 grand. He was just talking to us a couple of days ago, like, hey man, I think I'm speaking with the mortgage broker. I'm going to be thinking about, refinancing it. And my kind of advice, I was like, just sit tight. It's only about 45, 50 G's. Let's get it to, 100, 120. We'll refinance it so you can do something else. But you're going to say,
I
Laura?
think it's important that, like, we stop being so romantic about living
Center Ice.
buying where we live. Sorry.
like owning where you rent.
And also,
I-
you have to realize it's center ice. Sorry, bro.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. It's not
Well,
realistic.
I like what you just said there, Laura, because I don't think enough real estate agents are ballsy enough to say it, but you don't need to own where you live. In fact, if you look at the ultra wealthy, very rare that they actually own, because I get it. Some of them are ultra wealthy because they're athletes and they're actors or whatever. But if you look at like the Silicon Valley guys and gals, they're not really owning where they live. They're just smart enough to know, like, well, why do I want that liability? Yeah, then we are saying, like, your principal residence is a liability. It costs you money every single month. Like today, I got to figure out who's going to do my shoveling of the snow. And in the summer, I got to figure out.
And it gives you a lot more flexibility.
For sure.
Right? So, like, if your career does change and you need to move somewhere else, you're not stuck to that property. Where if you're owning a place and you don't live near there, like you own properties in Alberta, right? Like, you can own properties not in your back
Don't remind
yard.
him. Yeah, don't remind him.
Don't remind him.
There's only one thing.
We're going back to Morocco right now.
Yeah. As long as I do think, and I think you guys will agree with me, but I'm
Jazz, where's your Peroni?
love to get my Peroni's here, bro. Why don't you just get another Peroni? Bobby, can you help us, buddy? I'll take another one. Laura, another one?
I'm good.
You're good? Thank you so much, Bobby. Get on in here as well when you come in here. Look at which camera does he look at? Yassity Yass? Just so he knows.
He's the most beautiful
He
of
is.
all of us.
No, he has the best heart out of
Show
all.
that butt.
You know
Show
what it is?
that
Get in
butt.
there. Get in there.
Yeah.
Bro. Get in there. Just,
what's
just
up?
stay
Hey,
there.
what's
We'll
up?
fix- that
Oh.
camera there. That's the
hey.
main camera. We love you, Bobby.
Thanks, Bobbert.
What I was gonna say was, and then we're gonna shift, guys, because I really want to get our thoughts on our business side of stuff, not our business side of stuff, just but what salespeople can do and entrepreneurs need to be doing in 2023, and some of the things that we learned in 2022. But really quickly is understanding that yes, owning your own home is a liability, and you don't need to own a home like where you live, but there is a massive, massive advantage of getting into the market at least once,
For sure.
right? Because
Tying
that's how you.
yourself in.
Sorry,
Tying yourself in.
tying yourself
Yeah,
in.
because otherwise you're just going to wait, and prices are going to go up faster than your salary is going to increase. So you're
And
never
El,
going
to throw you under the bus a little bit, girl. It took you a few years to get into it, but aren't you so happy that you got into the market and then
Yes.
now you're able to take
Yeah.
advantage? Like,
Yeah,
what the
from
heck
an
did you
investor's
buy?
perspective,
What
or
did you buy, and what do you
my
think it's worth
principal
now?
residence?
Well, no, the investor's perspective.
Oh yeah, so it did take me a while. I wasn't educated on this. Like I didn't know people were just. I thought the only people who invested in real estate were wealthy people. You know what I mean? Like didn't dawn on me that like, oh, just little old me, like I can do this too. And so I purchased a pre-construction condo in 2018.
Links,
Maine
right?
and Danforth. Yeah, Links. You guys were there while I was like shaking signing for my checks because it took me forever to earn this money and now I'm just like handing it away and I was scared shitless. But you guys were like, trust me, like trust us. We've seen this happen. And I mean, that's probably gone up. I'm going to say at minimum 150.
And you had
and
a
I
lot
think
of,
that's very
and you did a
conservative.
lot of work to make that money too, right? Like,
Oh, the 150?
yeah, like you
I
have to
did
do a lot
nothing
of
to
work.
do
You
it.
got to get your hands
I did
dirty. Yeah.
absolutely nothing to do
Yeah,
it. Honestly,
nothing.
I signed the paperwork. I signed the checks. That was
Yeah.
the work, and I haven't
Yeah.
thought about it since.
And like last thing on this, I fucking love what you always say to people about like, and you threw a little dig to sellers, but when you talk about you did shit all to fucking get that appreciation, Alto and me, you like
lived.
Anybody
You
who
were
owns a home, you did shit all to get all that appreciation, but yet when the value drops maybe a little bit, just for a
You got
for a
lot
little
to
bit of
say.
time,
You got a lot to say.
you know what I mean? Like it's
Hey,
just
you think you deserved it or you earned it, but you didn't, and you were, so you should be happy with what you still got.
and just really what we're here to really tell you as like from an investor's perspective, sometimes you need to just get prepared and weather the storm. We're in a little bit of a storm right now, guys. Interest rates have gone up. Our cost of borrowing has gone up. Sometimes we're a little bit negative now into our cash flow. Look at it over a year basis. If you really want to be super duper conservative, do it over 2 years. If you can hold on to this property with the negative cash flow for 2 years, then we're here to tell you, hold on to the property, because whatever you're going to be paying, if you're $1,000 negative, quick math, 2 years, that's $24,000 that it's going to cost you. If you can hold on, I can guarantee you that you're going to make back that 24 grand in the next coming years.
2 times over.
2 times over, and you're going to be able to refinance that property, that hard asset. If you get to hold on to it, you're going to be able to refinance it. And in Canada, as much as we pay in taxes, the one way that you can get away from paying taxes legally is refinancing property and actually pulling out the equity. That's my whole, and that's our kind of 2 cents on the investor side. Let's shift it, guys, because my other viewers and listeners are salespeople. The real wicked thing about what we just did, in my opinion, is that our salespeople got a lot of value from what we just went over. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that from you guys. But now, this was tough as business owners as well in 2022, as well as salespeople, entrepreneurs, because for me anyways, you needed to shift and adapt quite quickly as the market shifted because the phones weren't ringing as much, the emails inbox weren't dinging as much. You had to find ways to kind of go through that. Elto, I'm going to go to you first. This was kind of the first full year that you were a business owner. What was some of the lessons and what were some of the successes?
It's so funny. You and I decided to start a business during COVID. That was a belly-to-belly type business where we're recording people in person. So that was ironic. So even the first 8 months in business were rough. And then as soon as we kind of were getting our foundation.
I bought a restaurant that couldn't open during COVID.
Exactly. You right when you think you're getting your foundation set, recession, and all of our target market are salespeople where their income is directly tied to the economy because if people aren't buying, they're not making money. So it's been interesting, I'll say. I kind of hope that this is one of those stories where in a couple of years we're going to look back and be like, oh, remember when we grinded? Which is what we did. In terms of the things I learned, I think you nailed it on the head in that it really starts from pivoting, listening to people. What are the concerns? Where is their headspace at? And then trying to reverse engineer what we're looking for. And I think you and I did a decent job on that. We certainly didn't, knock it out of the park. But I think it's important to just have meaningful conversations with your clients, or your potential clients, and really listen to where their bottlenecks are and then try to find solutions for them, and not being, I'm going to use the word romantic again. Don't be romantic about any one idea. We started a business that was a media company at the start. And if we were so married to that because that's what we wanted to do and that was our only passion, we would have missed the boat because we wouldn't have listened to what our consumers really wanted from us, which was more business and sales solutions. And so to make that pivot, I think we did a really good job.
I appreciate that. As you gave me the flowers for some way, somehow I took them
I was
anyways. I'm not sure if they were, but I took
glad you
some.
appreciated
it. Simos, you talked about the restaurant during COVID.
You literally had your first day during COVID. It was opening day and lockdown.
So we buy a Yorkville location.
It was expensive.
In January, thinking the world's just fine. We're going to open this kick-ass flagship high-end sushi joint in the center of Cumberland Street across from the garden. And we take possession March 15th. Which is
16th,
a day before March 16th, which is the day they closed North America.
Yeah. The world. Pretty much. It started to get,
So we're like,
I'm not stressed. No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Do we have an option of not closing? No.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
Can I get my money back?
No. We're business people and we're entrepreneurs and we're risk takers, and we also have other plans, though. So I've never gone into any one path. I don't go into trap houses, meaning I'm not going to go into a house with one door.
Yeah.
It's just not what I do.
Yeah.
I've always had plan B, C, D, and E worked out. I've been at this for 17 years. I've paid my dues. I've learned my lessons. Due diligence for me happens well before anybody says due diligence. I've already been looking at it. I've been thinking about it.
We do pre-due diligence.
Pre due diligence.
You're doing due diligence right now for 2028.
Correct. But we are. You're saying that and we laugh, but we are.
Yeah.
Because everything we do today is actually 3 to 5 years ahead. We don't need to work for tomorrow anymore. So right now everything we do is based on viability and feasibility for long-term thinking. We're in the long game. So the restaurants, for example, my due diligence was on my partner. I went into business with the craziest Korean that ever lived in the restaurant game.
Oh.
Big shout out to Bo Seo, Kibo Restaurants, Kibo Franchise Group, because I went into business with someone who is diversified against 40 locations.
Yeah.
That has the highest sales on Uber in North America for Japanese food.
I'm not surprised. The fucking food is awesome.
It's all, so you have a great product.
awesome.
You have great people behind
Yeah.
it. So fucking what?
Yeah.
If we can't open, we converted both.
Yeah.
The entire space.
Yeah.
Into a takeout machine.
What's the address? Where is it? So
154 Cumberland. Best sushi of your life.
Kibo Sushi.
So there's 3 Within 2 building radius, we have a French Korean fusion that was Michelin recommended.
Yeah.
We have Secret Garden, which is high-end regular sushi. And downstairs, if you're looking for an experience, it's a 2.5-hour sit, 20-course omakase.
Yeah.
Which
and
is
what's that? When they all bring, like, when you sit
fancy,
there and
the fanciest sushi you could imagine.
It's art.
Yeah.
It's
It's
art.
art.
Yeah.
It's handcrafted in front of you for you, and it's shit that you've never imagined.
Yeah.
So it's an experience. It's high end. It's a luxury experience. No matter how you cut or dice it, you're looking at probably an average of $150, $200 per person for a full experience. But it's an experience, a memorable. It's an occasion.
But isn't this interesting? Like, I think a lot of people, maybe in the restaurant industry, you correct me if I'm wrong, but when that happened and COVID happened, it was like, oh, let's go collect our checks and like sit and see what happens. Where real entrepreneurs like you guys, it was like, I'm not giving up. Like, I'm not going to just sit here and wait. I'm going to figure out a new plan. Like, for a high-end sushi place that prides itself on an experience, to say, okay, we're going to turn ourselves into
Whatever
a
we need.
delivery beast. Like, those are the restaurants that survive. Those are the businesses that survive.
And you know that the food has to be good because, like, sushi delivered sometimes, like, that's not the first thing.
Guys,
you know what I mean? Like, you
enough,
want...
we took one of 3 spaces
Yeah.
for this. During COVID, we took the bottom and the side as they failed.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So we were making acquisitions
Yeah.
during the shutdown. So again, I don't want to shout out the same thing every time, but people are different.
But that's a great example as well, right? When people say that so many multi-millionaires are made during tough times, that is an example of it. It's a nice fucking saying on a meme or something.
And so are we.
But
And so are we, by the way.
100%, right? Like, so are we what? Sorry.
We doubled during the pandemic.
Yes, no. Well, I think we also had some factors that obviously helped us because we've been through so many other hardships and tragedies. So you get the stomach for it.
My man, June 2020, phone call. I was on the side of my house at the shed, opening, closing the door, smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
Talking to you. And we're like, are we going
Firing
on
this person?
Are we
Or-
going
yeah,
on
yeah,
defense or offense? Is your question.
Yeah.
I believe, you said, I believe offense. I said, I believe offense.
Yes.
And you said, our other partner, not naming him, that we work with every single day.
Yeah.
I'll name him, slide him.
Yeah.
What does he want to do? Offense.
Well,
so let's go.
Yeah. 100%, man. I think in those situations, the only thing you can go is offense, but that doesn't.
Well, it's a risk.
And I always use
It's a
sports.
risk.
Like, I love sports analogies, right? Like, look, at the end of the day, the best teams who win in all sports, there's been some outliers. Let me use that because that is the actual definition of outliers in that sense. You got your fucking Patriots. Like, I'm not a fan of
Defenses
them.
win
Like
championships is what they say.
Like,
So
I
don't
get the
go- you can go
saying
against
around
it if
that.
you want to.
But the truth is, in sports, you need to score more points, right? And so, like, you have
You mean
when I
offense,
say-
offense is the best defense. is what
well,
you're saying.
yeah. Like, exactly, right? And so when you get to go on the offense, and when your mindset is going on the offense, that doesn't mean that you play no defense, right? What we did first back in COVID, and what we're doing even now, like with understanding that sales and all of our businesses in the other organizations that we run, that I want to make sure that we all talk about, is tied to the real estate market. Okay? Like, for today's conversation. And when sales go down, well, your businesses are going to be affected. But if you don't actually play a little bit of defense in the sense of saying, okay, like, where's there some ways I can maybe cut some expenses? Maybe I don't go as aggressively on the offense here, whatever it is. Those are always things that you should do, in my opinion. However, if you're not going like 110% on the offense, on acquisition from a client perspective, from a staffing perspective, you're done. You're done, right? And that doesn't mean you hire every Yas and Roe and Alex that you see, but you better start to realize, like, okay, there's going to be some players coming on the market in
I did
2023.
this massive webinar yesterday. My advice. You know what? Let's give the advice right now.
Yeah.
You said you need to take a look at your finances. It's called budgeting. If you made $200K this year and you don't have 50 grand set aside for taxes to pay this year, you're already in a world of hurt.
Yeah.
If you haven't set aside to understand which pillars of your business you make the most money on, you need to sit down, have a realistic talk with yourself. Nobody else. Sit down in your office. Pull out your bank statements, pull out your credit card statements. If you're blowing $20 a day on lunch every day, well, maybe that shit needs to stop.
Yeah.
Because nobody's gaining from it. Your business is not gaining. You're not gaining. Sodium intake is high. You're going to get kidney stones, bro.
Stop
However,
right there.
you're
Hang on one
blowing
second. You know why you need to stop there? Because it's so fucking important what you said about the lunches. We've been serving lunches for our team for 3 years. 2023, done.
Correct.
No more lunches. You know why? Not only because, well, we got to make sure that you either going to be employed or we're going to keep on.
Get lunch
You're going to get
until you're
fucking
not
lunch.
Correct.
Second
And they
thing,
still don't get
nobody appreciated it. Everybody came in. Everybody came in and said, "Can I want this time?" What? You had free lunch, bro. Now you're gonna start asking what you want. So now we start to pull it away. But that's from a business decision. We had to make that to say, guys, we can't do the lunches.
To finish the thought.
Yeah.
And whether it's lunches, whether it's nonsense, it doesn't matter. Right now, it's December 2022. Let's time this. Because you're going into January where the mind naturally hits a reset. Whether you like it or not, I don't believe in resolutions personally.
Yeah.
We
But
live
people
it
do
every day.
Yeah.
People do. Even I, who I know I with purpose avoid resolutions, my mind is January 1st, bro. It's a new year.
Yeah.
It's who we are as human beings.
It's like every Monday.
It's like every Monday. Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't help
Okay.
it. It's a new day.
I can try again.
So, going into this, look at your budget. Pull your statements. Take a look at the nonsense. Fix it immediately. Did you just free up $1,000? Now we have $1,000. Where do we allocate it? You need to look at your pillars. Am I a pre-con guy? Do I need to look at my landing page strategy? Am I a resale guy? Am I farming a neighborhood? Do I need to make a donation to build community? What am I working on? If you don't know what you're working on, you need to take 5 more steps back and figure your shit out. Who are you? What do you stand for? 2023, if the market continues at 50% less sales volume, you're competing against me, bro. That's the facts.
100%.
And there's many Simeons and Jazzes out there waiting to take your clients. Waiting. And what I mean by that, this isn't a dark threat.
No.
This is a competitive sales market.
Well, the sharks are coming now, bro.
No, but I'm going to put out double the content.
100%.
I want to be the center of attention of everything
Yeah.
that happens.
You guys don't like being the center of attention.
Oh, no, it's not like we've made everything we've ever made as a result of it.
Yeah.
But this is how we do it.
But see, and in the past couple of years, like we it's true, bro. And Laura, you can touch on this as well. Like the past couple of years, like it's always been about collaboration over competition. It will continue to be that. But I wasn't really personally, and I know I'm speaking for us three as well. We weren't like, all right, we're about to like just eat everyone's food. This year, you have to get out of my way. Otherwise, I am going to trample you because I understand that there's 50% less sales.
Yes. And
I'm not an idiot.
And I got to eat.
I got to eat. My family needs to eat. My team needs to eat.
Yep.
Literally in that fucking order. And I'm now thinking, okay, I need to be on the phones. What's the first thing I said to Simos at the start? Like,
how's Friday 1 to 3
I was
p.m.,
like,
bro?
hey, Simos, I just need, I need you from 1 to 2:30
Well, and
p.m.
isn't it funny
because we're
that-
gonna make phone calls from now on. Everyone in our organization,
I was just
right to
gonna say
Laura,
that. I was like, isn't it
Tyler
funny?
and
I was
Laura.
like, I'm in. I get to make calls. What calls am I making?
But
let's
even
go.
before that, they're like, "What do you mean you and Simos are going on phone calls?" I was like, "It's the mantra for 2023.
We're back.
100%."
basics.
I was like, "Whatever got us here will not get us to the next level."
So let me just say this. So the reason we're back, it's not because we're suckers or we're idiots. We know that the true value proposition that we have is extremely strong sales tactics over the telephone. Our clients, if they hear from us, they will act differently than if they hear from any one other person. So in 2023, knowing that every transaction is critical, we are doing what we have to do. So this doesn't lower me. This doesn't embarrass me. This is my honor and fucking privilege.
But
You
that's
better
again about
believe
being
that.
romantic, right? You're not romantic about
you
your
kidding
place
me?
now. Like, well, I'm above it.
I'm
like,
scared,
no,
Lord.
put me in
I'm
the
scared
trenches.
to hop
Yeah.
on a call to book a person that's gonna make me $30K as long as I can bring a value prop to them. Are you lost? all day
and
long.
And you know what happened? It's so funny because even like, because Laura's with us and Bobby's kind of off camera right now, but it was right away. It was like, all right, what do we got to do? Everybody's thought process is like, okay, what do we need to change to like, I'm not sure if people heard what you said earlier when I was saying that Simos and I are back on the calls. The first thing Laura said, what time is it? I was like 1 to 2:30.
Yeah, and I knew I wasn't going to make those calls, but I was like, I'll make my.
She's like, I'll make different calls. Yeah, like what? You know what I mean? It's like everybody.
Everyone's
let's
on
go.
the calls. Let's go.
Everybody's on phone calls again, and that is.
I don't even like
you said it
phone
like
calls.
the meaning or like that's not who it's. I'm probably most excited in my calendar next year about that.
No doubt.
Because I know what it's going to take. And so for everybody who's in the real estate sales business, you need to realize, like, if you're not doing, like, if you don't have your pillars, and they could be whatever they want. I always scream from the rooftops, the 3 that have worked really well for us. We're not scared, hence the collaboration over competition, to tell you what we do. We do phone calls, educational events, and content. Like, there's no like secret to what we do. And the reason we tell most people that what we do is the fact that we know that most of you are not going to do it. Like, we know you're not going to stay as consistent as we are when it comes to those 3 things specifically.
Going back to the webinar, one of the sizzlers for the webinar, what do the top 1% do to be there? Consistency is number 1. Choosing the right activities, playing to your strengths, avoiding your weaknesses. Playing to your strengths consistently is going to do what? Beast mode. All day long. Raging. But if you stick with it, I was talking about 60 calls a week. If you make 60 calls a week, on 5 days, that's 10 calls a day. Let's not be jokers here. It's nothing. We've done double, triple that. But if you were to do...
Hey, we've had some Peroni. The math was a little off there, so it's 6 days a week, 10 calls a day. It's the Peroni, I know.
Whatever.
I love that. Hat's coming off. It's getting it
12 calls a day. 5 days a week. Yeah. Let me get you. 15 times 4. Doesn't matter. So all I have to say is this. If you work 40 weeks, because you're not going to work 52.
Yeah.
We know it.
Yeah.
I will. You won't. Yeah. But
I like 40. I like the number
40.
that you're going. Continue.
At 60 is 2,400.
Yeah.
Out of 2,400 calls, if you connect with half, you have 1,200 connects. Mm-hmm. If 20 of those choose to just talk to you and work with you, 20% of 1,200.
Yep.
250 people.
Yep.
Close 10% because you're not a great closer.
Right.
If you're a great closer, close 20%.
Right. Go off 10. Easy math.
25 deals.
Times?
25 deals.
25 deals times the average GC, gross commission.
Let's use the national index. No.
Oh, national is what?
We're the worst guys of all time. 10 grand.
Is it 10 grand?
10 grand.
Got it. So you have 250 grand. And
if you made 60 calls a week and you're not the greatest human alive, but if you were consistent enough to deliver 60 calls a week to people who know you and trust you, your sphere of influence, you're going to do 25 deals, which is to most agents a pipe dream.
Now, and I'll go to you for a sec, Laura. Simos gave you the perfect fucking process for salespeople. But how do you meet people? How do you get these people in the sphere of influence? How do you get these people into the database?
That's where the educational events come in.
Yeah.
Right? So that's when you're literally sending out emails. You're talking to every single person that you meet, and you're giving them value first without asking for anything. I think oftentimes as salespeople, we're always, every conversation, particularly real estate people, you'll be at a Christmas party and it's supposed to be lighthearted, and then you hear across the room someone's like, I'm thinking about selling my house, and you're boom there, right? And it's like, I got to be the agent. It's like, but you didn't give that person any value. You haven't spoken to them. You haven't followed up. You didn't make the calls. You didn't invite them anywhere. You did nothing. And so I think just giving without asking, that always helps. And that always, that gives the trust that Simos was talking about.
And content. I think content is a big thing as well. And you're coming across a lot of people. You're crazy enough now for real estate agents to put out a video every single day
Best
on
movie
your
we've ever made.
socials.
It's
Like
amazing.
it's the
It's amazing.
like
It's a lot of fun because I
So
see
what are you
people
doing?
actually
Talk about
doing
that.
it.
Talk about
Yeah,
that.
so every day I do a post on Instagram where I'm giving the topic for other real estate agents to do for their own social media. Because oftentimes we hear it all the time. I don't know what to talk about. Like I would do social media, but I don't know what to say. I'm telling you what to say. I'm giving you the topic every day. So now I'm squeezing out your excuses completely.
But people are still scared to put themselves in front of camera. What are you telling them? Because I know you also had insecurity, fear, weirdness, whatever word you want to use to get in front of camera. What are you telling these people on how to kind of get over that fear?
Yeah, so I think you can do a couple things, right? I think it just starts with taking your phone. I don't have mine on me, but taking your phone out, putting it in selfie mode, and just practicing. Not with the intent of actually posting it. Like just literally talk to it. Like say, "Hi, my name is Laura. It's Tuesday, December, whatever." Like, and just talk to a little circle because something about that camera going on makes people like freak the fuck out. And so just getting over that hurdle, I think, is really important. I think truly coming at content knowing that people just don't care about you the way you think. Like, you have to be a bit humble. We all think like, oh my God, I'm going to post something and like my hair looked bad in it and now all my friends are judging me. It's like, I get it. Like, people are judgmental, but they're judgmental in the moment. And then they've scrolled past you and now they're judgmental about the next person and the next. And they're judgmental about themselves. Like, they're not worried about you. So you really have to take that on. Like, no one is thinking about me. No one cares about me. Like, not cares about you as a human.
They're not
to be
thinking
alive.
about
They're not
you.
thinking about
I agree.
you. They don't care enough about you. They got their own shit. So just put out the content and understand that, like, it's going to take time and consistency.
Yeah.
And you slowly but surely get over it.
Now, going into 2023, guys, we are all up to so much. Us three are up to so much in terms of what we're doing together. And REC is some really quick housekeeping notes from an REC perspective. Content-wise, we always hear that you don't get to see Simos and Jazz together as much, but I think you just don't know where to find us. And both myself and Simos together, from a REC perspective, we do content live on YouTube every weekend. We've been doing it on Saturdays, but we're going to move towards Sundays. It's called Brunch with REC, live on YouTube. Very easy to get to us. YouTube.com/REC Canada. That's where you're going to get all the information that you want in terms of current market stats, exclusive opportunities. We bring on like some top economists, real story investors, like the whole gamut when it comes to real estate. That's the real estate side. And that's us together in the REC wheelhouse, REC world. Individually, though, we're all up to a lot of stuff, and it was we kind of started talking about it where I forgot what we were talking, what word we used at the start to make sure that it's cohesive, okay? But it's so hard to make it cohesive, and now we are doing these things individually. And so, Bobby, love you, brother. Okay, we'll see you back at the office. There's so much that we're all up to. Okay. I got obviously this app and this podcast. That's me. You guys know where to find me. You're obviously in my world right now. So this is about the two people on the gray couch right now. Simos, you got the swag on as well. Broker's Playbook hat and the sweater. What is Broker's Playbook? What are you trying to do with it? And then most importantly, I think, but if there's something more important, please do your thing. Where do people find it? And where do they go and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so Broker's Playbook was born in the beginning of the pandemic, where my goal has always been, what I wanted to do is to have the biggest, baddest brokerage / team / reputation in the field for doing the biggest, most hardest, fastest, strongest deals.
I think we accomplished that.
I think we are if we've accomplished it, great. If we're still accomplishing, great.
Yeah.
It's never going to stop.
Yeah.
So I don't have a goal. People have asked me a million times, "What's your end game?" And I say, "Fuck off." I don't.
There's no destination.
No.
It's a journey.
No, I love what I do. I'm extremely ecstatic to wake up every morning. I thank Jesus every morning I wake up.
Vaheguru.
Legit. Because every single day is a blast. Monday to me is the best day. 7 p.m. sucks because it's coming down to a close.
Yeah.
So whoever thinks I'm fronting, you can go kick rocks. I like to work. I like to produce. And I like to bring value. So Broker's Playbook was born in June when I was taking calls of people that were, scared shitless in the market. What do I do? My own team. What do we do? And I get together with a crew, and we start putting some advice together out there in content, slowly catching on some more. It becomes a little bit of a community. That time, Clubhouse, this app that was a kind of tune-in only, gets pretty big,
Audio
pretty
only.
quick. And all of a sudden, I'm speaking in rooms with hundreds of agents in them consistently, which grows its own following, which all came to the Broker's Playbook podcast to listen to more and to participate and to gain traction. As that whole little podcast was evolving, the market is piping hot between 2020 and today. And our access in where we stand in real estate in this country is pretty high. Again, like I'm not talking nonsense, but people are like, "Hey man, how can I do what you do? How can we do what you do? How am I going to this, that? How can I get access to this, that, and the other?" We put together 150 deals in a matter of 6 months with people that I've never met before. When we talk collaboration, we live collaboration. We always have lived collaboration. But this took collaboration to a whole other level. So, therefore, Broker's Playbook Collaborations is born, where I'm taking what I've always done, but I take it to a next level, meaning I put 3 times as much work on myself to be able to fulfill for other people, and with more mandates. People are calling me, "Can you get me something in Kawartha?" Well, now I got to track that guy down, track who I know on his team, see if I can contextualize what's happening. Business development. Mm-hmm. So I start building Broker's Playbook collaborations. So there's podcast Broker's Playbook, which is kind of the content and how brokers, this is B2B, find us. And then collaborations to service their needs and elevate their game. Enter end of 2021, January 2022, just this year, I have our team meeting. And I look at our team results. At the time, we had exactly 50 agents or 48, whatever it was. And I look at the top 20, have done 80% of the business. I have 20 agents that didn't do $100,000. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. Maybe I was too busy. But
There's that damn sushi restaurant.
Started losing my mind a little bit. I'm getting excited on the team meeting. I'm getting excited. And I say, example, "Hey, you Mr. or Mrs., I just really need to understand what you were doing on June 14th.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Pull up your calendar is what I said.
Yeah.
Right now. Show
Yeah.
the screen. Pull up your calendar.
Yeah.
What about the 15th? What about October 16th? What about September 9th? Were you sitting at home drawing pictures of dicks?
Yeah.
What the hell were you doing?
Yeah, he went there.
So
Hey,
I
if you
did
guys
go
don't
there.
know Simos, this is where he
So I'm
goes.
just
Super
trying to,
bad at his
so
maths
I'm
right
just
now.
trying.
That's all I'm
I'm trying to understand.
Super bad. I like that, Laura.
Bobby Bobby Pume has instilled it in me. Give credit where credit
The
is
movie Superbad.
drawing pictures of dicks.
Got it.
So the whole point of this exercise is, so I'm looking at them, and I'm like, 2021 was a year where it reminded us rock stars and people throwing their underwear at us.
Yes.
So you couldn't move without selling real estate.
Yep.
So I just needed to understand people who looked at me in the eye and said, "I want to join your team.
Yeah.
I'm a producer. I'm somebody who's capable. Give me your leads. I'm going to work with you. You're on the REC team. We're the Green Berets, bro.
Yeah.
I walk around saying that my team is the Ninjas.
Yep.
How did you not do 100K, bro?
Yep.
Just tell me what you did."
It was
And they
order
couldn't-
taking.
And they couldn't.
Yeah.
They couldn't tell me what they did.
In the year of order taking, if you couldn't do it, you got a problem.
You got a problem.
You got a
so
problem.
I said, nobody will ever lie to me again on this team.
Yeah.
Because if I ask you, what do you know how to do, and you say this, I don't believe you anymore. I am going to teach you, so I will know what you know. So when we have this meeting again, there is no misconstrued or I didn't get it. I'm sorry. No. But when I opened my fat mouth and I said that,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I had to now build a curriculum and build a training. So I immediately I got off the phone. I'm like, what the fuck have I just done?
Yeah.
Like I opened myself up to an entire new thing.
Yeah.
Because I said I would.
Yeah.
When I say I'm going to do something, I do something, as always. So I have to look for a system that I will teach, not a third party.
Yeah.
Because that's what I said. That's what we need. We need to create versions and clones of work ethic, of the right thing. How do you make a decision?
And you got to speak our language a little.
Correct.
The REC language
Yes.
is a little different.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I scour online. I look at all these trainers, the fairies, the this, the this, the this. I line up one of them up, the one that is in line with my value system, which is a workman success system. And I call up Workman Success. I'm like, I love your system, but it doesn't work for me. I have to layer it. Like, what are you talking about? I was like, I love your fundamentals. I like the process. I love the backup and everything else, but you don't speak my language. You're still a little bit not
1970s.
not American. It's the way it's spoken. Like I bring the market together differently.
Yeah.
And I'm talking. I have tremendous respect for this man. So Virl
Yeah.
Workman is an absolute genius.
Okay.
Trainer and coach.
Yep.
He creates millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue for teams, etc. His style is simply not me.
Yeah.
Just like I'm not him.
Yeah.
But he is the closest and absolute biggest system that I could work with that's existing. So I'm not starting net new.
Yeah.
So I take his system, I Simeonize it, I RECTmanize it, and I package it. It took me 7 months.
Okay.
But I launched it after I was done the first episode. Now the pressure is on.
Yeah.
So I put a cohort of 50 agents, 25 of them being REC agents, 25 being outside Royal LePage agents in this case,
Yep.
for the first cohort to test,
Yeah.
to debug it, to do the things. Overall, out of 50 people, 48% increase average in production.
Nice.
In the quarters that destroyed this year for the whole industry.
Perfect.
So our team members who were in that, who instilled the daily success habits, who
Yep.
did the things.
Yep.
This isn't rocket science. To you, you would laugh at me, you slap me in the face.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you to make your calls every day. That's all.
Yeah.
Stop it.
100%.
That's it.
Yep.
A little technique. A
Yeah.
little bit of this.
Yeah.
But 90% of it is execution, as we all know.
100%.
I can tell you to do all the things. You can, if you don't do it, if you don't pick up the stupid little phone and press send, nothing's going to happen.
Yep.
This is what happened. So this program became the final vertical in what you asked me what Broker's Playbook is. It's now an ecosystem of brand, meaning you can go on the podcast, discover yourself, listen to inspiration, get inspiration.
Okay.
You can then take training to learn, elevate your skills. And lastly, you can go into what we'll call the Broker's Portal, where you can collaborate. Now you can go sell inventory. Take the skills that you've learned. You've learned everything. So you come in, you build, you find your brand,
Yeah.
what you identify with, you get the training you need. Once you're trained by Broker's Playbook, you can actually qualify to work Broker's Playbook consumer-facing things. You can go into the collaboration portal and actually sell inventory. So you can literally change your entire existence and trajectory
one
by
place,
becoming there.
And how do I, as a broker, get there? Like, what is it? Broker's Playbook?
.com.
Easy.
Easy
So
peasy.
very, very easy. Yes, yes. Do us a favor. Make sure we get the links into the
And
description
of course,
and everything.
on the socials, it's mostly under
Broker's Playbook.
Broker's Playbook.
Go check out
is on
Simeon
there.
personally.
If you see my personal, is where you're going to find the most
100%.
of it. But brokersplaybook.com
Yeah.
is the place for you to explore.
That start there. I think that's probably the best place to start. Go to brokersplaybook.com and then you'll kind of filter yourself to the socials, to the training, and to everything that Simeon mentioned. Massive, massive congratulations on the process, on getting started and executing all of that kind of stuff. And for 2023, obviously, I think it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Blessings.
Laura Stewart. You have a couple of things going. Number one, I know you started a new show. So I want you to touch on your new show, as well as what changes did you implement on the From the Ground Up side?
Yeah, so the new show, I literally just started, recorded my first episode yesterday, which I'm super excited about. I was kind of making the joke earlier that you guys love the limelight. Well, it turns out I like a little limelight for myself too.
No doubt.
You deserve the
And you
limelight.
deserve it.
So I started my
for all
own
the times
show.
we throw you under the bus, you completely deserve the
I
limelight.
get drowned out by these
Go.
two sometimes,
Go.
and I was like, no more.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think it's easy to get drowned out. So I think this show is going to bring a lot of value because all your insight has only grown us since we've met you.
Yeah.
So all shit aside, congrats. And I hope this show brings a lot of value to all the women that you will be watching your show. And of course, the men.
Yeah.
Maybe they will, just maybe, they will
Let's-
open their
let's
eyes a
hope
little
they're
bit wider.
Tune in. So the show is I'm having women who inspire me either from a personal story, an interesting situation, or from their career perspective. It wasn't. The point of the show was not to exclude men, in all honesty, but I think there's enough podcasts out there, enough shows right now where men are the hosts, and men tend to have great conversations with other men. That's just what happens. Women tend to be a little bit more cautious about putting themselves on camera. There's a little bit more fear there, and so I'm trying to help break that mold. But again, it wasn't to exclude the guys. I just felt like, we've talked about this before, like to pass the mic a little bit. Let's get some women and amazing women. Let's give them some exposure.
Pass the mic.
Pass the mic. So that's starting January 11th, and it's going to be every other week. It's going to be on YouTube and all podcast platforms. So The Laura Show is what it's called.
Okay, I was just going to call you out, and I was like, you didn't mention the name.
Yeah,
so.
it's really creative.
Yeah.
The Laura Show.
Awesome. From the ground up,
Yeah.
what changes have you implemented? Because you're kind of running with that a little bit more than I am.
Yeah.
So what are you doing there? What's happening?
Yeah,
over
so
there?
From the Ground Up is the company that Jazz and I own together. It is now a sales solutions company for salespeople. So we do that through education. We have courses, we have programs, we have coaching. That would be the educational component. And then on the flip side, we also help people literally implement for their business. So we help people do, with their CRMs and do lead generation management. And we help them with their media, for example. So doing exactly what we're doing, podcasting. We have an incredible team, and now we're like literally sharing those people with the world.
And I love the fact that we also dropped just the media. Like, it's no longer from the ground up media. It's now from the ground up sales solutions for salespeople. It's a very, very close passion of mine because this is all I've done. If with the real estate industry, I owe a lot to, but it pales into comparison in what I owe the sales industry, because it's all I've ever done. If without this industry, I would not be sitting here in front of you. I would not have met Laura. I definitely never would have met my boy Simos, because it's just, I don't know what else I would be doing. And so now to be able to help other salespeople, we're obviously focused really with real estate agents because it's the world that we're in, but this will go to insurance brokers, phone salespeople, mic salespeople, because it's just my passion. And so I think we're going to be able to bring that to the world. I'm not surprised that I think on record, today's podcast is by far the longest podcast that we've done, as my team gave me a kind of flash of how long we've been going for. You bring on Simos, you bring on Laura, and then you bring me on. We are called the trifecta. That's what we've been calling each other for a very, very long time. And I love these two more than they even know. They've given me so much in my life. I cannot put it in words. And to finally end off 2022.
It was a tear hit.
I was going to say,
I'm
he's
not
crying here.
Yeah,
Jazz
I'm not,
doesn't because he's dead inside. But you
He's dead inside.
I know. 2022 was a very, very interesting year, because it had its trials and tribulations. It obviously had its successes. Simos mentioned where we ended up as a team. For myself and Laura to actually still have a business is, a triumph in its own. I just know that I know that I don't know what 2023 is going to bring, but if I have these two beside me in business, I'm going to be all right. And so for you, if you ever needed to find someone that you just needed to talk to, I love you guys, to talk to and reach out to, don't think that we're that cool. I can speak for these two as well in that sense. Reach out to them, DM them, find them on TikTok, find them on LinkedIn, Find them on Facebook, wherever. Go check out their shows because they bring value. We might be saying and speaking about the same thing, but I can tell you for sure we speak about it differently.
Night and day.
You might not resonate with this Indian guy, but you might resonate with the good-looking blonde. You might resonate with the good-looking Greek. That's up to you. I'll leave that to you. I love each and every one of you who actually give us your time every single episode. Happy New Year. I'll let these two close off. I'll start with you, Simos, and then to you, Laura. Give them your Happy New Year wishes, and we'll see them in 2023.
This is to the sail industry. I wish every single one of you a great year ahead full of health, wealth, and happiness. You're not going to find any of it from your couch. Get off your ass. I'm sending on video a big heart. I hope you can hear it through the speakers of your car or wherever you are. But do something. Reach out to us. If we can help, we'd be honored to. If it's you need to inspire somebody, do just that. I just wish you all the absolute best from the bottom of my heart because I just have a lot of love in my heart. So,
yeah, and I would say whenever I go into a new year, I always reread the book Atomic Habits. I think being habitual about your life is more important than anything. Routine, consistency. It's not about losing, 50 pounds in the first month of the year. It's about
4 pounds a week, 2 pounds a week.
Yeah, keeping it off. And so I think that runs through your business, that runs through your personal life. So any changes that you want to make them small, but keep them consistent. And I'm starving, so let's wrap this up.
Later, guys. Happy New Year.